The late, great David Bowie. That was the concert for the heroes, for the first responders after 9/11. It is 16 years. 16 years since 9/11. This is the Bennington Show. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I am Ron Bennington. You know, I was actually thinking about this while that song was playing. Is I think that's the first time that I heard cops and firemen called first responders. But now they have been ever since.
Yeah, it's like a much more common word. But you're right. I don't think that was really like in the terminology that way.
We just said cops and firemen.
Yeah.
But the fact that everybody tried to wrap their head around what those people did that day. And, you know, I'm looking up at the news right now, and it's literally about first responders in Jacksonville, in Miami, as Hurricane Irma confused everybody by looking like the worst parts of this were nowhere near the eye of the storm. We heard about the eye constantly, and it looks like Miami and Jacksonville, Marco Island, maybe somewhere in the Keys, not Key West, but either the upper or lower Keys. I forget which way that they go with that. As well as, I don't know whether you saw anything from Cuba last night, but it looked like Venice.
Yeah, it was like pure devastation. The flooding was so intense, and yeah, it was crazy. And the strange thing about that is like, it was such a tense weekend because the storm kept shifting. So I think at any given point, at some time or another, every part of Florida was in the danger zone. So like everybody was on their toes the whole time. And I know that initially when that storm had shifted, people in Miami who had fled more west were like, why did we do this if this ended up being worse? So it was kind of, no matter where you ended up, you were in potential at one point or another to be in the path of destruction.
And then Miami got more flooding, of course, than Tampa did, which they were terrified about Tampa's flooding. And then you find out Jacksonville took a huge brunt of it, as well as, you know, like I said, in the islands, the U.S., British islands. I know I made those jokes about Necker Island the other day, and then they got hammered hard. You know, maybe they can rebuild that thing to make it look nice. I don't know. You know, something Branson can look into. Take some of your billions and do it, you know what I mean? And really get a nice island going.
At least one of your billions. Just take a single billion.
That's all I'm asking. Take a single billion and really do that thing up sweet. But it was very odd because I know people in Miami were saying like, oh, see, bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And then I got a text from Flats this morning. He said he white-knuckled it all last night. And he wasn't near.
Yeah.
He wasn't near the eye of the storm. And then I know some people in Clearwater that didn't lose their lights. And that was, you know, going to be the brunt. So you just never know with these things. But you know, again, I want to go back and bring up the fact that it's, you know, with 9/11 and what you see happened here, and of course what happened in Texas when it comes to the first responders. I'm always, there was a thing that Mr. Rogers did on his show one time. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, it was that he reminded people that what his mother used to say to him is when anytime he would see something on the news, on TV that was horrifying or devastating, she would say, look for the helpers. There will always be helpers. And those are the people you need to focus on.
And we should stop and obviously do this on 9/11. I know that we always said never forget, but you do forget. And everybody is furious today with the New York Post because they didn't put something on the front page for the first time in 16 years. So I'd rather get a nice laugh out of that rather than, you know, I'd like to get a laugh that everyone's like, where is it? Where's the thing? So we never, you know what I mean? Because somebody always has to be to blame in this country. But, you know, for us that were in New York, you still watch that thing, and it's just, it's still surreal after all these years. And I could understand why it wouldn't be to younger people, you know?
Yeah, it's, there's that, and then that we kind of keep, the effects kind of keep still rolling in, whether they're emotional or physical. My neighbor's daughter was a first responder, and she just passed away, due to cancer that was caused by inhalation. And so my neighborhood today, there's a big service for her, and all the cops were in the street as I was coming in. And it's something that we have to keep in mind is the people who still have the lasting effects, and the people that we lost in the aftermath, who were there, who didn't give a second thought to going down there, no matter what the risks.
Yeah, oddly enough, there's still names going on at memorial. They still put up names because those people, I mean, we kind of knew it at the time. Like, you know, everybody's headed down there and you're just like, oh, could this be good? Yeah. You know who knew it was the Asian people. Asian people were always wearing, like, that lived in that area. And I'm like, what's wrong with you people? You're always putting those, you're not in the hospital. But they're on to bad air.
Yeah.
They dig bad air because of what happens in China all the time. I was like, oh, we're losing all of our manufacturing to China. Yeah, look at what they do. They're crazy.
Yeah.
You see some of the smog and smoke that they have there? It's like you're sitting next to Chris Stanley out front. Hey, TJ, what's up?
Hey, Ron, Gail, big fans.
Thanks.
Looks like BL knew she's talking about when the Hurricane's going after that pickle, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
I forgot about the pickle, and sometimes you turn off for the pickle, and that's what the Hurricane did.
Yeah, I don't know what you were saying about the pickle, to be honest. I didn't understand it.
On a lighter note, looks like those Eagles are going 16-0, huh?
What's lighter about that, sir? That's the most serious thing happening today. There's nothing more important than that.
I agree.
Big J already wants to get Super Bowl tickets, so if you guys want to get in on it, we can go in a block. And then I was texting him, and I was just like, "This is it, dude. This is the team we've been waiting for our whole life." And he goes, "I know. I'm picking up on your sarcasm, but seriously." And I go, "No, man, I'm not sarcastic at all. I feel it in my gut, man. Do not miss this ride." Wentz makes this crazy, looks like Eli in a Super Bowl play, and the next one he just lobs it to somebody and lets them run back for 6. You can't even sit and enjoy a 13-point win because you're like, what the hell's going on here? Chris Stanley, your team, the Gents.
Oh, God.
It just looked like they took the first game off.
They didn't show up. Apparently they don't have a fucking O-line or a running game.
I heard this last night. Yeah. If you lose your first game to a division team, you only have a 10% chance of winning that division. If you win it, you have a 40% chance. Why things like that exist with adults, I don't understand at all. Hey, Chris in Philly. Chris, what's up?
Hey, guys, how are you?
Good.
You guys had just mentioned the first responders. They had a documentary on History Channel, I think just like in the hours and the days after 9/11, and I'm watching it, and you're seeing all these firemen and all these helpers and iron workers coming on the rubble and sorting through the rubble. And I don't know why, for the first time yesterday, it hit me watching all those men and women out there, like how many of those people died or got sick in those immediate hours?
Well, it happened over time, and there's a cancer, and there was certain times that the government wasn't paying off. I remember Jon Stewart had to have to do something. We had a fire chief in here. But that thing, it doesn't happen within hours. It takes time for that to happen. But any of us that were in New York remember just how long those piles stayed there and how long that people were working down there. And people would come from, fire departments came from all over the country. Volunteer fire departments, professional departments. There was, of course, the union guys were amazing. The work that they took on with that. It was stunning. It was stunning. And you know what? You do that thing of, man, this is something I will never forget, but you don't remember it exactly the same way. You know what I mean? And today is almost a 9/11 day. It's a beautiful day. It's a little bit lighter of a cloud because it was just a deep blue cloud. And of course, the streets are filled with first responders that were, at St. Patrick's or whatever church in town because they do stuff. And that reminded me of just how long that those funerals would go. I would be walking into work. I worked at WNEW then, and I would stop because the procession was going by, and you would just have to just feel it with these people. And then they would leave, and you go by, and you're like, that was amazing. And, you just, the next day, you just hear the bagpipes again, and you're stopping, and it's just, it's a very strange thing that all that stuff is still in your DNA. The other part of it I was thinking about is just how here we are 16 years later, and it feels like our country could not be more divided. Literally divided in half. And I watched Steve Bannon last night with Charlie Rose on 60 Minutes. Did you guys see it?
I didn't see it.
It was fascinating because he's talking about a civil war in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
So, and we're kind of having a civil war in the Democratic Party at the same time, where there's Democrats that feel like no one who isn't black or a woman should run the next time. You know what I mean? And all the crazy shit that goes on over our history, whether it's statues or whatever. But I go back to, what you said, Fred Rogers' mom told him, you see a thing like Texas, you see a thing like yesterday, and you're like, no, people aren't just assholes. You know what I mean? Because a lot of that stuff is people who do that either professionally or volunteer work, and some of it's just neighbors.
Yeah.
So, I had heard from people who weren't going to evacuate from Pinellas Park because they have elderly neighbors. You know what I mean? And they're like, it's kind of my job to keep an eye on the neighborhood. Nobody asked them to do that, but they do it. People are better than we think they are. And yet, the thing that we discover most of all is what we dislike about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone's always ready to say, and I'm going to use air quotes right now. Chris Stanley is a dirty cocksucker, or Chris Stanley is a lazy alcoholic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, that's true. But there's other things about him that are great.
Thank you.
We just haven't found them yet, but we will.
Okay.
I won't stop looking.
I appreciate that.
But the constant political rhetoric that takes place in this country, it's exhausting for all of us.
Yeah. And then particularly like the fight that that's so worth fighting, but frustrating to have to fight is benefits for these types of people. The first responders, like we were talking about, those who their health was affected, getting cancer, supporting their families. That's one of those things where you're like, come on, everybody, we've got to all be behind this one thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that's one of those obvious things that you feel like
you would think,
no matter what side you're on, you've got to be okay with taking care of these people and their families.
Right. And yet there was all kinds of things attached to that pork and blah, blah, blah. You get into the weird political stuff that takes place. A lot of people talk about first responders, but what about the second responders? The responders that bring them food. Our own hard rock Johnny.
I'll take a second responder, thank you.
Yeah. Johnny was so sure that the Houston Texans were going to win yesterday on the back. He was all flying his flag and screaming about who wasn't standing up. And then J.J. Watt saw the football and started hurting.
I don't understand that game. I don't even want to talk about football from yesterday. It was so horrible.
I wouldn't even bring up the Giants to you because I wouldn't even know where to start.
Literally, did they forget they had a game? I don't understand what the fuck happened. Like Ben McAdoo didn't do a game plan. The offensive line was terrible.
By the way, did anybody look particularly good? The Seahawks looks like they're anybody, and even Green Bay didn't look good.
The whole league looked like garbage. Like no one was ready.
Here who had a monster first game. The L.A. Rams.
Right. What? In front of like 10 people. Did you see any of the long shots? There was nobody there. L.A.
had just got 2 teams, and the city of Los Angeles doesn't want either one of them. What they want is college football, and then their Sundays free to gamble.
Yeah.
That's all they want. They don't want to go out and sit in the Rose Bowl. And people are like, well, it's hard to get people in the Rose Bowl. I go, check out a fucking USC game. There's stuff in there.
No one wanted 2 teams. The Rams didn't make sense, and then Chargers coming were even crazier. I can't wait to see how many people are in the seats for that.
Well, the Rams shouldn't have come before they had the new stadium and all the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I don't even know where the Chargers are playing. I think in a fucking parking lot outside of fucking Winn-Dixie.
It was a brutal football day. Well, absolutely brutal.
We don't have to commit ourselves to it, you know. I mean, right now it looks like the Eagles are going to go 19-0.
Definitely.
And it looks like the Giants are going to go 0-16.
Good. Fuck them.
That's what I call a fan. A fan man.
At this time next week, I'll be getting ready to go to Stupid, watch them on a Monday night so that I could be drag ass for the rest of the week. They're going to lose to the goddamn Matt Stafford, who the highest paid quarterback was I think it was his first throw was a pick 6.
Yeah.
It was. And it was a lob too. I mean, it was a backyard pitch. You know? It looked like me go to the close pole and make a right. But then he came back and won the game. Yeah. I mean, I'd see those guys going 16-0 too.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're going to beat the Giants. If you have there's this, in survivor pools, if you did a loser pool, whoever the Giants are playing, you take them to win. Always pick. That's the way to do it. The Giants are going to always lose. It's just horrible.
Oh, you know what, Charlie Brown? You've got a lot of blessings in your life, okay?
I do. And today I always count the Bennington show as one of them. I mean, I count it all the time, but this is always a day for me that's always a little emotional, a little difficult, and you guys were always there, which made it great. And
Johnny Johnny, we met around the time of 9/11 because he was the guy that was running food down there to everybody. When everybody else, I'm not going to give him too many compliments, but everybody else was flat-footed. We were flat-footed. And, again, to go back to that look for the helpers, Johnny was saying stuff like we need bread and too much bread would show up. You know what I mean?
Whatever. It was the craziest.
Yeah. Whatever we're saying, okay, here's the stuff we need to take. Too much came in because all the people were looking for a way to help, Yeah, Johnny, the only bad sign is, I know you promised everybody concert tickets and you said you got them from Craig Carton. What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a problem there. Although I think it's just a misunderstanding.
Yeah. Al Dukes forgot. That's the misunderstanding. He was going to get it. He was supposed to deposit something at the bank. Somebody rolled a ball and he chased it.
Oh my God, that's the greatest defense ever. It's a misunderstanding.
It is. There was, to think about those times, Johnny, literally was the worst of times, in a lot of ways the best of times, because the best came out of a lot of people.
I agree.
Yeah.
Could use that again sometimes around here. It's tough.
Yeah, I know. We could use another 9/11, couldn't we, Johnny?
Well, no.
Jeez,
Not that part of it.
Damn it.
Not that part of it, but, maybe people should just, I don't know, something like Day Like Today, take a look at what's happening and don't be so fucking political and don't worry about all this bullshit, man. It's one country, one place. Fuck, it sucks.
Johnny was very furious with the guys who knelt yesterday.
Just at that game. I mean, come on.
Because of the flooding?
Yeah, I mean, it was a symbolizing, that was a symbol of, people who were suffering. And listen, you want to people want to protest. I understand you have the right, but, right place, right time for everything. I just didn't feel it. I think I said I wish J.J. Watt would go over and kick him in the balls, but he probably would have gotten hurt while he did that.
Yeah, you said punch him in the face. And I'm just like.
All right, either way.
And I was
hurt his hand.
Okay, all right. Take it easy. Just a game. Just the guy sitting down.
You sit down all the time.
It's comfortable, isn't it?
I like when you're at the Catholic Church, everyone has to kneel and stand, unless you're old. then you could just sit there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd always be like, what's with her, Mom? Well,
she doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Why?
It's not like I like this. My little knees hurt.
Yeah, because when you're little, it's just like right on that tiny little knee bone. You're so bony as a kid.
I would do anything if you just didn't have to stay still. That's the part that got to me. I could just feel myself. I'm like, I'm going to end up running down this aisle. I was down in front of the stand, and this fucking door opens. These people are coming back into town, and 3 little kids just came out of the car doing crazy dances, and it was hysterical. And I saw both the parents weren't even looking at it. Like they have seen this crazy dance now for like 6 years, so they don't give a shit. And I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Look at the energy of these kids. These parents must be having the time of their life. No, not at all. All right, Jenny. Thank you, my friend.
Have a great one.
All right, peace. 844 Rock God, 844 Rock God. It is the Bennington Show. As we said, the hammering that took place in Florida and the islands, unbelievable. The good news is I was watching today, and because of the trajectory of this hurricane, it looks like the next one's going to be knocked off into the North Sea somewhere.
Oh, that's good, because that was a big worry. Even if that's the problem with hurricane season, even if you get a hurricane and then a tropical storm right after, it's like you've already just sustained all this stuff, and it just causes the flooding to start back up again. So even if it was like a big tropical storm, it would have been rough.
Also, let me say this. If you tell people not to go outside, right, then the weather people also don't need to be outside leaning. And one guy acted like he stopped the tree branch and was a hero for it. I'm like, there's tree branches all over this. But you're saying don't go outside, and then you couldn't make it look more fun.
I know, that's the problem. And then it's irritating when you're watching the news, because I know I was watching MSNBC for a long time. So every time that they would go to another correspondent who would be outside standing in like 60-mile-an-hour winds, then they would have to say, okay, now go inside and get yourself safe. We do care about your safety. Now let's go to the next guy doing it. And then he would be like, tree branches would be
a great time out here.
Okay.
It's really fun.
You do need to get somewhere safe, though. We do care about our reporters.
Yeah!
Let's go to another dude who's standing out there.
Woo! I feel like Bam Margera out here today, jackass! I swear last night I was hate watching Brian Williams. I mean, I could have turned the channel, and I did several times. But I'd still come back to Brian Williams because he was driving me nuts.
I know.
And then he would...
God, he's annoying.
At one point, he's like, in an amazing story, the town manager of Longboat Key is staying in another city's shelter, and we've got him on the phone. It's amazing. He doesn't even have I'm like, do you know how little fucking Longboat Key is?
Yeah.
Why would they have their own shelter? And it's a key. They're out there. They have to go into Sarasota or Bradenton to use the shelter.
So you've abandoned ship, have you?
As the winds of this terrible storm blow around a state that is defined by its tourism and college football. Just fucking say Florida, dude. He's trying to have a poetic moment constantly. Everybody got mad at him because he said, don't go out and take pictures. Here's a picture. Just post it to your Instagram and say that you took it. And because he's known as a lying liar, everyone would just fucking went after him like a maniac.
Well, you remember his reaction when he's like, I'm reminded of these beautiful weapons. Or remember when he did that whole bit? So he started to do something very similar when he was covering the aftermath in Cuba, and just being a little too in awe of the beauty and the power. And I'm like, can you stop? You already got a lot of bad attention.
Right.
Stop feeling like you need a poetic response to a tragedy or to a horror. It's not necessary.
Slow yourself down and fucking pitch it around to the people that are there.
You can't help himself. You just can't.
I know. Is there a producer maybe he could talk to, run lines with, and go, hey, is anyone going to find this to be a little tone deaf?
He's on fucking cable right now because he can't slow his fucking jaw down. You know what I mean? Because he fucking acted like he was in Gunga Din. He said he was in the French Foreign Legion. And he was the one who found Gunga Din. Oh, shut the fuck up. Here's our friend Holly in St. Pete. Holly.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up?
I made it.
Well, you guys got it pretty easy, right?
I know, but I'll tell you what, man. Saturday, we were scared shitless. I was like in a freaking daze all day, and like everybody on my street, they're so awesome. They went out and drove around to like every grocery store and got every pallet they could find, and they were boarding up all the old people's houses and making sure they didn't have nothing in their yards and all that. And
now they got to make sure they take it down, though.
That's
they're already out there. And the thing that was funny is there's one person on our street that has electricity. Every neighbor was over there this morning brewing a pot of coffee.
What part of town do you live in?
I live, you know where Biff Burgers is on 49th Street?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Oh, their sign bent in half.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah,
that's a national treasure.
Yeah, it is. That's iconic. I
live right back in there.
I talked to Fez, and he's like, I can't believe how dark it is outside, but he had forgot he had boarded up his window. And he just thought
that's the funniest thing.
He just thought that the darkness had taken over.
You don't realize how dark it is until you have every window in your house boarded up.
Jacksonville got it really bad, and a lot of flooding in Miami, and there were tornado warnings all over in the middle of the state. You can't figure this shit out. You cannot figure out where you're supposed to go or what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. And I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
I have no power. And Saturday I didn't even watch TV all day because I was having anxiety attacks.
Well, yeah, because Saturday they were screaming everyone in Pinellas County is going to die.
We were going to die.
Yeah. I got fucking texts from people that said, look, if anything happens, I love you, man. But we had some great. I'm like, let's not do that. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All of us girls on the street after we got done boarding and everything like that, we're all standing in the middle of the road hugging each other, crying like we're never going to see each other again.
Yeah, they get you fired up. But all right, I'm glad you're doing well, Holly.
All right, thanks.
See you soon. Bye. Also during the storm, Fez's mom kept saying, can we order a pizza? And that was fucking funny. And everybody I know went through snack food like there's no tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
There was, we have, relatives and they went to Orlando into a hotel, and then the fucking thing just aims for Orlando. So they're getting these extreme winds. They were even sending me, things like, listen to this. And it sounded like you were on an airplane, but with the window open. Or like a train was going by. And this one, it gets real loud, and one of the kids just ate an entire bag of ginger snaps, just sitting there, just eating ginger snap after ginger snap. Motherfucker. Isn't it weird how snack food is like it's a drug?
It's true. You're like, I'll feel a lot better if I just have this Kit Kat right now.
But everyone's like, with this going on, I deserve a terrible cheat day. And I'm going to eat all the peanut butter cups there are.
And of course, like, whatever your poison is, like if you're a drinker, if you're an overeater, whatever the thing is, you're like, this is a me day.
Right.
This is what I need to do.
Well, the drinking is weird too, because then what if you do need to do something? It's like when if you're afraid of planes and you get drunk on a plane or you take a pill.
Right.
You're like, then what if you do need to get out of that plane? You're the last fucking,
I'm very relaxed.
Go ahead, get away from the fire. Daddy, take a nappy. Matt in Long Island. Matt.
Hey guys, I was watching Fox News last night covering the storm, and there was this guy doing the whole doom and gloom, where he was like saying how horrible it's going to be, and he's standing in like 3 feet of water. and then behind them there's people like 20 yards away taking selfies, like jumping around in the water, dancing, and like laughing at each other.
Oh, you know,
And,
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it is kind of fun to run around in the rain, you know, until something happens, but it is,
Right.
it's a blast to run around in the rain. Big winds. You're just fucking having a ball out there. But then you say, you know, look at the devastation in the island. For other people to see, I know it was bullshit. There it is. It ain't bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, you just didn't get that same bullet because Cuba got it, and that slowed it down and made it wobble so that when in Naples, instead of riding up the coast like they were afraid it was going to do, the eye just took off into the center of Florida and then slowly just became a giant storm. But people in Jacksonville got fucking flooded out.
Yeah.
People in Miami, and the weirdness of the suck of the Tampa Bay, that fucking totally weirded me out.
So creepy. I saw at first the way they were showing the Bahamas, right? It
Right
was
there,
like,
we got that up on the iBank.
and it is so surreal.
Jesus Christ.
The water
It
disappears.
just goes away. It's totally displaced, just leaving ocean floor where you normally see it to all the way horizon. Like, that is so creepy that it's not just receded a little bit. You cannot see water at the horizon.
Now, I had lived in that area for a long time. I never saw anything like it. No one who was alive saw anything like this before in their life. The Tampa Bay was emptying out, and there was fucking manatees just like in the mud. I mean, that's some kind of weird sci-fi movie.
It's
like,
so creepy.
What happened to the water?
People were, I know people were trying to go out there and save them. This morning I was watching, on the news as they saved a baby dolphin and a mother dolphin. And I know people were out there with the manatees, like putting them on tarps and trying to drag them out to deep water.
Now, here's the other thing too last night. They were showing the Tampa River running in the wrong direction.
Yes,
it was being
so
sucked
strange.
out instead of going the way that it's supposed to go. You're just like, what kind of biblical bullshit is that? That's the Bay right there?
That's the Bay, yeah.
All right, it's up on the iBang. This shit is, I mean, Gail's mom said to me, she goes, it would make more, and she grew up down there. She says, it would make more sense if you said that was ice rather than it had emptied out.
Yeah.
Because, you would have said, do you think that the Bay will just be sucked out, or one day it'll get cold enough that it ices over? What's more likely to happen? So those people that had lived in that area their whole lives were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it really does look like a strange apocalyptic situation. It is so creepy looking, especially when you look out at the horizon. Like, it's not just like,
right.
Oh, the tide has changed dramatically. It's like, where is the fucking water? It's really, really creepy.
That's exactly what it looks like. Like scientists would go up and was it, I don't know, did it get sucked up to space by aliens? If I was a weatherman, I'd be, apparently aliens came and sucked the Tampa Bay dry.
In other news.
And then with the flooding in Jacksonville, Chris says to me, 11 manatees swam right through the city of Jacksonville, and they went into the stadium and ended up beating the Jaguars 2017.
That's not...
And I go like this. You sick son of a bitch. I go, this is a time that we should all be pulling together, not making fun of the fucking pitiful Jags.
They're just so bad.
Did they win yesterday?
They did win yesterday.
So they're better than the Giants.
They are better than the Jacksonville Jaguars.
How did we do with
That's
our team that you picked for us?
Did not finish in the money, but the good thing is we can build a new team for this weekend. That's the beauty of FanDuel.
The good thing is we got to get somebody running our coaching staff other than you.
Trust me. Look,
you sounded great.
Look, I didn't know Julio Jones was going to have a bad game. I didn't know they were going to go to the goddamn tight end.
That's what I need you to do, though.
This is how people lose money. I would have handed him $50, but he was so confident.
I should have started.
He sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
Should have started the Rams. Everyone in the goddamn Rams.
I told you to start the Rams. I go, you keep an eye on the Rams this year.
He did say that.
You know who's quarterbacking them right now? Roman Gabriel. He is back at 71 years old.
He's doing great.
He looks fantastic.
Game manager.
Did you just say gay manager?
He did.
Gabe.
You did not. You said gay manager.
Why is it so hard for you to thick tongue talk?
It's hard. The words are in the head, but they don't come out the mouth right.
Then this is the wrong business, Chris. This is the exact wrong
There's
business.
so many other businesses that you don't have to do that in.
Jack, Indiana, Jack.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yeah.
I just wanted people to think about the U.S. Virgin Islands as well. We got friends that live out there, John and Denise, and thankfully they're okay. But that all of St. John pretty much got wiped out. Their house made it through fairly well. They had a second property which was completely destroyed. But they were moving out of there because of the storm issues, but they built in the Keys, so now they get to come back to the Keys and rebuild their second house. But the community out there was really well. They sent pictures to us last night from Facebook because the whole place is pretty much devastated. But
I heard a lot of the people in the U.S. Virgin Islands furious that it seems like the Weather Channel and MSNBC and CNN and Fox forgot about them. And they're like, we're fucking Americans, dude.
Yeah.
We're Americans on American soil.
And them and St. Thomas was pretty much wiped out, and everything was shut down. But as of the other day, while they're walking through all the devastation when it first came through there, one of the local bars, 420 there, was passing out burgers and beers and fried chicken. So it was uplifting to see that the community came together. They were just lined up out the door for the place. But yeah, you're absolutely right. We forget about that place. And if you see any of the images of even like the Westin Resort, which is a high-end resort out there, it's pretty much devastated. The houses are just gone.
And such a beautiful, stunning place. Just phenomenally beautiful. All right. Thanks for your call, my friend.
All right, Ronnie B.
Peace. Here is Andrew in Tampa.
Hey, Ronnie. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, so I live actually over in Seminole Heights. My parents, though, are right over by the Bel Air Causeway. And I work as a paramedic for Pinellas County, so we're out kind of doing our damage assessment and trying to get to the people we couldn't get to overnight. I got to tell you, man, we dodged a big old bullet here in Tampa.
Yeah. Well, they said that Tampa is the 7th most vulnerable city in the planet Earth that something bad could happen to, because the city was built before they knew a lot about flooding and stuff like that. And if they get a Cat 4, Cat 5, it's going to, that's why they were freaking out. Now, the Tampa mayor today was like, we're Tampa strong. And I'm like, you only get to say that if, you had the devastation.
Well, that's because he wants to run for the Senate. But
first of all, Governor Navy Hat could be the next president of the United States. I love that dude.
But here in Pinellas, man, we had all the bridges were closed. The Skyway closes if you fart too hard on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of an eerie feeling being stuck on a peninsula with no way out.
Dude, I know exactly how that feels. I live on an island now, and when Andrew hit, they go, okay, we're closing the bridges, and I'm like, I can't fucking be stuck here. You know what I mean? I'm like, I live here every day, and it doesn't bother me. I'm like, this is a fucking island. I can't breathe.
Well, so Tampa General, which is our level 1 trauma center and the regional burn center here in Tampa, they said, no, it's on a man-made island. There's one way on, one way off. And they said, well, if the bridge goes out, we'll move patients by any means necessary. Boat, helicopter. Yeah, it's a fucking hurricane. You can't fly a helicopter in a hurricane.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, maybe we're getting closer to this because people did listen this time, but you got to figure that we've got to start figuring out how we deal with anything. You know what I mean? Like there should be, like when you're in school and there was like safety things to do, we got to start thinking that way.
Absolutely. And I know that it's one of those things where all it takes is one hurricane prediction or, snowstorm and it doesn't hit. And then for some reason it only will be better until the next time something hits and then somebody takes it serious again.
Right.
Like the way you had said about, just because it didn't hit the communities that we thought it did. Obviously, it shifted. I remember that happened with Hurricane Irene, and New Yorkers were like, see, bullshit. And you're like, well, it's not bullshit. Other people got hit, and there were fatalities.
I think if the weather people acted a little chill, you know what I mean? Like if they didn't blow things out of proportion. They're performers.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them are. And by the way, seeing Al Roker so disappointed standing in Tampa last night, that was hilarious because he wanted to be, you know what I mean?
He wanted to be at the...
I can't believe that that Al Roker, at this long in his career, thinks he should hop on a plane and go to the worst place.
Well, you can't stand next to Lester Holt and Jim Cantori and look cool. You just can't do it.
First of all, he looked 2 feet tall standing next to Lester Holt. I don't know whether Al is tiny or Lester is 7 feet tall.
It looked like Lester brought Webster with him, for God's sake. So
yeah, it did. He did look like Webster last night. All right, talk to you later, man. Peace. Thanks for your good work.
Have a good one.
How did, the Fort Myers area fare? Because that's a little bit south, more south.
You know, I haven't seen enough out of Naples and Fort Myers to know for sure.
Because I know that there was concern. One of the stations I was watching was talking about, the Cape Coral area and how that's all like canals, like man-made built canals so that everybody gets waterfront property and everyone can have their boat in their backyard, basically, and then be able to take that canal system out to so that, of course, would make those communities really vulnerable because all of the water is already kind of seeped in and worked through those communities.
By the way, those canals were emptying out in places like Bradenton last night, too. It was just, that weirded me out more than anything. And then, like I said, you know, I lived down there for a long time. Gail grew up in Florida, so I have nothing but friends and relatives all over that state. So wherever that thing was going, I was nervous about someone else. And in the middle of it, as the hurricane is hitting and ravaging, my phone rings and it's Vito, and he goes, I think Josh is going to turn on Paul. I go, Vito, I don't give a flying shit about Big Brother. And he goes, just one thing though. And I go, there isn't one thing for me, Vito. I'm doing storm coverage. This state, which blossoms like an orange blossom over. Shut up, Ryan Williams. Shut up. Tim in Maryland. Tim.
Hey, Ron. How you doing this morning?
Good.
My mother-in-law lives in Naples. Sister-in-law lives in Fort Myers. My dad lives in Sarasota. And the evacuations, chased them. First, it was my mother-in-law to Fort Myers from Naples. And then Naples had to evacuate up to Sarasota at my dad's place. And then, the doom and gloom was going to Sarasota. So they ran across to my cousins in Melbourne. And it's just craziness. My mother-in-law lives in one of those retirement communities. So her shit's probably gone.
Yeah,
so that means she's going to come up here.
I saw a lot
to Maryland to live.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that happening. And I don't ever remember a storm that affected the entire state the way this one did. Well, it's up in, Georgia's getting a ton of rain right now and plenty of winds. And, people doing stuff like, thank God it dropped to a Cat 3 to a Cat 2. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. None of us know what these are made up fucking terms.
I mean, 2's smaller than 3, right?
Yeah. That's, people were saying shit like that.
Is it better?
And nobody, not one of the experts said, oh, and by the way, Jacksonville will flood today. Well, even last night.
Yeah.
It's a storm. It's not something that you can mathematically figure out. They give you the odds of where it's going. But every one of these things, I've seen it just bounce or zigzag.
Yeah. My cousin was explaining to me that the fact that the water had just disappeared that way actually lent itself to the fact that there was less of that storm surge and flooding because as soon as it started to move forward, it had so much ground to make up, which I didn't, they weren't sure if something like that would happen, if that water would just immediately start flowing over or if it would move out. That was something that they weren't going to know until immediately. I don't think that they were really calling for that initially.
Let's go to Jerry. He's in Naples. Jerry.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, buddy.
A lot of wind damage, trees down, but structurally everything still looks good. Haven't seen many broken windows, haven't seen any knocked down buildings. I mean, it's a little eerie, driving around on Christmas Day right now, but Not many cars on the road, but really not that bad of damage considering what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah, considering you guys got the landfall, it's unbelievable. It's literally unbelievable. Yeah. And I had people saying to me, why are they still talking about Miami? Because, a lot of people in the other parts of the state felt like Miami got too much of the coverage. And then you turn around and, like I said, Miami just
had worse flooding, yeah.
Yeah, terrible flooding. The East Coast got the worst flooding.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay didn't flood at all. We talked about that for days. No one brought up Jacksonville flooding. And then that horrible joke that Chris Stanley made. 844 Rock God, 844 Rock God. Let's talk to what I consider the Chicago's ambassador to the world. Janice.
Hi, Janice.
Hello, Bennington.
Hey, sweetie.
How are you?
Well, we're trying to put this back together again.
And I was so happy for your Eagles. Yay.
And I was sorry for your Bears. I really thought you were going to beat the Falcons.
Oh, and the goal line.
I know.
You can't score. And we got 2 quarterbacks, so that's going to start.
I know. I hate that, too. I voted one of them died. I was like, we can't go back quarterback to quarterback all the time.
It's bad.
And you think, wouldn't it be smart if you had, 2 quarterbacks that were that both could run the offense and maybe even do something crazy, like put them both on the field at the same time?
Yeah.
You don't know who's getting the ball in which direction.
That's exciting.
You would think that would be, and it just doesn't work ever. It just doesn't work. And I come up with all these genius ideas. Genius. By the way, I saw Sproles run a play right off of Madden last night. It was the thing where when you play Madden and the halfback comes out and then Judson,
Yeah.
It's like a little fucking moves. It's like a square in, but it's more on an angle. And I'm like, I feel like I'm playing Madden right now. By the way, I bought the new Madden. It's not fucking working.
No?
Why not?
No, I don't know. I'm going to hang myself.
Don't, please.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm going to hang myself.
Let's go over there and help him.
See, that's the fucking thing. That's why I don't ask for help. That jokiness, that teasiness, that grandpa can't fucking run his Madden.
This is a very strange circumstance when grandpa plays Madden.
I don't. Why not? Where's the ageism coming from that a person has to stop playing Madden?
I'm sorry. I don't want to treat you like Kevin.
Now, and I know Kevin's taking a lot of shit. But here's the thing. A, I don't want to learn how to do it, and B, I don't want any help. So, that's the problems that I have right now. I could start a sitcom and get a live-in, who's the boss type guy. Hold on. A sitcom where a guy, he lives with an older guy and he just has to do all the IT work.
Oh,
and then, hold on, but the older guy's running a meth lab.
Okay.
And has buried a bunch of fucking hookers under the house.
Is it a comedy?
Yeah, it's a comedy. It's a light comedy. I call it What's That Smell? And the smell, of course, is the hookers. So anybody comes over what's that smell? It smells like dead hookers.
That's meth.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the meth.
Dude, you guys should start drinking. Anytime that somebody says, what's that smell? And one of the funnier things is one of the hookers is still alive and she's under the house and she hears everything and she's just making crazy comments about that old fool or, you know what I mean? It's going to be really
funny.
Cool. Yeah. So, I know you got relatives in Florida, Janice.
Yeah, you know what? They're in St. Pete, and one year we were down there for one of the hurricanes.
Yeah.
And they have a little mangrove.
Yeah.
Little bay next to where they live.
Yeah.
And it was so awesome because all the wildlife came into this protected area and the tide went so far out you could walk 100 yards and still be on sand.
It's crazy.
It was really neat.
Yeah.
And then we were there and then they closed the bridges so it's so quiet and but they were there, they hunkered down and they're fine. My mother-in-law just called me a little while ago.
I was literally thinking about this. The only time anyone ever says hunker down is during one of these things.
You don't ever say, I'm going to go home, hunker down for a little bit.
And then I heard them say that the President of the United States said, hunker down at the, what's the little Camp David? He goes, the president is hunkering down at Camp David. I go, he's not hunkering down. He just went to Camp David.
Yeah, there's no reason to hunker there.
Yeah. I wish they'd find that Joey some friends.
Aww. I'm so alone.
All right, Janice. Thank you so much, sweetie.
Bye, Janice.
Thank you. I love you guys.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. Bye,
Bye,
Janice.
Bye, Janice.
Bye, Janice. Goodbye, Janice.
Farewell, Janice.
If you want to see Chris's big Highlander poll, it's also up on the iBang. Already lost, a good 20%?
Yeah. A lot of people making bad choices week 1.
Well, one of the bad choices is signing up for Highlander. Vito, I wanted to tell you this because Vito, one of his favorite things in the Rays is the Tampa Bay Rays, which no one in Tampa cares about. And then Fez wrote to me last night. He goes, there are more people in this shelter than have ever gone to a Rays game. And we had a good laugh at it. And I go, you know who likes the Rays? And and I told him Vito, and he goes, does he run that board with his feet? He thinks that we have the worst run fucking show in radio, he told me.
Oh my gosh.
He can never tell whether it's Vito or Chris. Are you guys running the board with your feet?
I don't believe I am, no. I'm not running the board with my feet. These are hands. These are hands.
Loose hands, though. Do you have connection over them? Or are they like paralyzed hands that you're just putting out there?
I was told I have freakishly loose joints, but the hands themselves are tight.
And your asshole?
Not so much.
Oh, okay. Too bad. You want to get that thing able to whistle. You need to do boy kegels. Or you just tighten your asshole. Vito, you look like you want to say something. What is it?
No, I don't run the board with my feet. I've never tried to run the board with my feet. That's
just
not...
even saying that doesn't help you. You're better off just to ignore it. You know what I mean? But when you say I don't run the board with my feet.
Official statement about my feet?
I just picture you coming in, taking off your socks, and you know what I mean? Because I hear board and feet, and people are going to think that way.
Don't address those allegations.
Yes. It's better just to let those arrows ping off of you. Now, tell me what the vote out structure is this week, Vito. So I didn't have time to talk to you.
It looks like it's going to be Alex going out.
No, you spoil alert.
Oh,
I mean, when does it happen?
Oh, so I think there's an early eviction first where they're going to air that on Wednesday.
Right.
And then Thursday we're going to get our live normal eviction.
So wait, is Wednesday not a live eviction?
Wednesday's not a live eviction. They just tape it beforehand.
Wow. So, and they're going to make her leave beforehand? And she doesn't get the audience and all that?
I mean, they've done it in the past. I have to recheck.
First of all, I want you to recheck before you go. This is like...
What's this whole crowd?
I don't know. They look like the cool soft rock people.
I know.
You know, it looks like somebody is going to end up playing in like a singer-songwriter thing. All right, so let me see if I can get this straight for Big Brother fans. Wednesday eviction, Thursday eviction, and then Sunday night we claim a champion.
No, next, whatever the 20th is, so next Wednesday or Thursday.
It's 10 days from now.
So next Wednesday's the final episode.
Why? I don't like it when it gets down on nobody. Then you ought to just do it.
Yeah, the fees are really boring where it's just 3 people alone in the house.
What about your big idea? Putting feeds in the jury house for this time of year.
It would be incredible. I
would love it.
He's come up with 2 great ideas. Feeds in the jury house, but then even another better idea. And I don't even think you went back to that because your partner smacked you down. But not saying what the voting was leaves a lot of people to take shots.
Yeah, because everybody gets so distracted with, the vote was 7-4. So like, who turned on who? But if you could just convince everybody, maybe one person just turned, people be willing to take chances. Nobody wanted to take chances this year. They were too afraid.
It's actually a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna tweet at Julie Chen. Maybe she can bring this in for
Isn't there somebody you can get that pays attention to the show?
Yeah. What's that producer's name?
Far too You've been far too easy on Julie Chen this year.
I think she's doing her work this year. She's had some nice interviews after.
She's had some of the most uncomfortable moments ever. Are you kidding me?
I really like that she just called Raven out on her shit. Usually she just has no idea what's going on in the house. She also said Josh was an immature child.
She took a lot of heat for those strange sleeves she wore. Like a week or two ago. She wore some sort of feathered.
I love that crazy nuttiness.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It looked like she was wearing like ostrich vaginas on each arm. I thought it was very cool.
All right, let's break here. We will be back. It's Bennington. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. This is the Bennington Show, 9/11 show. And Petty, of course, Gainesville, which I think is one of the few areas that nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of area, I guess it was like, it got some like tropical stuff, but.
Nothing for Petty and his ilk. Jen, we were just discussing your hair. We love, you don't. Is that right?
I adore it.
Thank you.
Well, why don't you like it?
I'd rather my hair be straight and like, especially when it's wet and I'm outside and like, it just gets really cold. I don't know. I just hate my hair curly. And it's it's very tangly.
Yeah, I like it like that.
Yeah, it's cute.
You look like Trinidad Island girl. Now I understand we got a new intern today, right?
Yeah, we do.
Who's our new intern?
Her name's Imani.
All right, let's say her.
Okay. Come around.
Just come around and say hi. Can't say her.
Hi, Imani.
Hi, Imani.
Hey, how are you guys?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Give us a little bit of your background. What you're in school?
Yes.
For what?
Media communications. I go to Lehman College in the Bronx. And I'm a senior. I just started my senior year this fall.
Wow. Nice. So what's the goal? What's the plan?
Right here. I'm starting it right
here. Serious XM. Good. All right. You're on your way then.
You're in the right place.
Thank you so much.
Tell me your name again.
Imani.
Imani. I love that. I've never heard that name before.
Thank you.
I'm Ron. There's Gail. That's Chris.
Chris Imani.
Hey.
But really pay attention to Vito and Jen.
I will.
If you want to get somewhere in this business.
They're your alliance.
Yeah. Well, good to see you, Imani.
Thank you, guys.
I hope you have a great semester.
Thank you.
I like her a lot.
I like her already.
I like her more than Jen.
No.
Better hair.
Jen says no.
Seems like we finally found somebody better than Jen. There was a big brouhaha because who's this kickboxer who said there's no such thing as depression?
I don't have his name, but he went on Twitter and said
he did?
He was on Twitter.
Oh,
he took to Twitter.
That's edgy.
And he's got a verified account, so people like this guy. At least people at Twitter. And he said that depression isn't real, just move on.
And then everybody attacked him on Twitter. Who were the big famous people that attacked?
Patton Oswalt, I know, was one who went after him.
Yeah.
And I think Vito's the one who sent in the story.
The woman that wrote all the Harry Potters.
Oh yes, J.K. Rowling was another one.
Now you can't pull it up on the iBank, Chris?
Internet was slow.
Okay. Well, here's the point on that. I really don't understand depression, but I doubt very much that it's made up. And this guy said, just move on, just do something with your life. And then he said, do you think that the lions go after the healthy zebras and gazelles? No. They go after the sick one. This is the law. You got to be ready to be fierce. And then Patton Oswalt said something to him, Chris.
He tweeted at him, 1, false. 2, you're not sad. You're insane and can't move on and need help. 3, false. 4,
all right, just stop it right there. Now, normally you would be in trouble by calling depression insanity, right?
Right.
And yet that's the defense in this now, because I know you're not supposed to call people crazy when they have mental problems, but that's literally what we mean.
Yes. But yeah, normally just saying insane has some people upset.
I honestly think now in America, mental illness is the number one thing.
Yeah, and certainly in my lifetime, there's changes. So the way that people are more comfortable talking about their depression, anxiety, or medicating them
too much.
Yes,
comfortable. Well, I don't want to hear about them all the time, but
I mean, even when I was young, it was like still saying that you saw a therapist was still a taboo thing. Like,
Really?
I think adults were just starting to get more and more comfortable with it. And now if your friend says, yeah, I was talking to my therapist the other day, no one would go, I didn't think she was the type to have to see a therapist.
This is how much things do. When I was younger and I went to a therapist, people were like, what are you doing? And I had to say, I'm having an affair with my drug dealer. And that was a better thing than saying therapist. But I think even, now, correct me if I'm wrong, and if anybody knows 844-ROCK-GOD, 844-ROCK-GOD, even a therapist doesn't help you with depression, right? It's a chemical imbalance.
Yeah, exactly. And that it's not the same as sadness.
Right.
It's like, sadness is a reaction to a thing that is, present and current, and it's a natural reaction. Depression is like a hole that you can't seem to get yourself out of.
No matter what happened, even if you won the lottery.
Exactly. And so even when you would be trying to experience things that everybody else would perceive as positive, instead of that, you feel numb. So you're not able to enjoy things the way other people are.
So should you just get out there and meet people? Maybe do some volunteer work, because, you get out of your own head for a while. But I think I try to spend a good deal of my life trying to get out of my head.
Yeah, I mean,
would say 99% of my day is to go, what else can I do?
Yeah, and like there are positive and negatives to that. Like, I feel like I'm a daydreamer, and sometimes I can feel like I'm in a place where like magical thinking is both positive and negative, where you're not grounded in reality, and you spend a lot of time like, and then this will happen, and then and then that'll be crazy, and then like you're basing that off of a what if or whatever. Yeah.
So they say one of the biggest problems with daydreamers is they don't daydream in the obstacles, right? So they're just like, what I'll do is I'll become a congressman, and that'll be great. People like me, and I'll meet a really great girl. And then they'll go, oh my God, the senator died. Could you run for Senate? And I'll be like, yeah. And I'll get a couple bills passed. And they're like, you seem like you could actually be president. And then I just start running, and I'm just doing so good, and I went in a landslide. You know what I mean? Like, no one comes up with how hard all those things are to do. And I do feel like we have a daydreaming, like there is some point in our society where like achievement is the only important thing. All right. This came on the other day. It's a $16 billion business. Now, I saw this on HBO Sports, of kids' sports, right? And they have these giant places that you can go in Iowa or different places that will have like 40 Little League fields. And you go there for tournaments, and people travel for all over. And then there's another place that have 80 soccer fields. And these families are spending $15,000 a year on their 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids for them to do gymnasts and travel. I remember when your brother was younger and I coached him, that was just minor getting started. And now it's like, if you're not on a travel team, you're like a dick kid. You know what I mean? You're just like, if you can't, you shouldn't even play unless you're really committed to traveling. Now,
yeah, I remember there were always those parents who had like ideas that like the Little League should be bigger, and they wanted to expand on it and make sure everyone had uniforms, and like wanted like the kids to travel to other places. And you're like, the kids though? So they're just like, kind of want to hit the ball and run around the bases a little bit.
Well, see, to me, the best thing to do, the best games that you ever played was against your other friends from another neighborhood. Like, that's who you really want to beat. But now they're not connected to their own neighborhood or the other neighborhood. So, like, I guess it doesn't matter to them if they go to fucking Iowa and play in a tournament. But even if you win the tournament, it's like, okay, next time there's another tournament and another tournament. So I don't know what these kids, what the parents expect them to be. Pro athletes? I mean, that's like saying I want my kid to be a pop singer. It's a fucking long shot. That's something that you're supposed to talk your kid out of. not into. You know?
I guess it's a little less than like a lottery ticket. If they're just when these kids in the travel leagues and they're playing all year long, is a travel league going all year long, or just does it stick to the actual season of the sport?
Well, there is no other season. It's a tournament. It's a tournament that you can play at any fucking time. So it's not like you belong to a league.
Right.
You're going to wherever this place is, and you play like 6 games over 3 fucking days, and that's the end of it. I kind of feel like, though, that we live in crazy times right now. Here's Brett in Texas. Brett, what's happening?
Ironic.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I was on antidepressants for about 7 years, and they didn't help me out whatsoever. You know, they actually just made me nuttier. I didn't have any inhibitions when I was on them. I'd drink and drive and do all kind of fucked up shit and get into fights, and then when I quit doing them, I kind of came back down to earth. But yeah, I got convinced I needed to take them.
Now, at some point, were you ever depressed?
Yeah, I suffer from it, but I don't think it's the medication really helps you, man.
You just said it hurt you.
Yeah, I didn't do well on it, and I quit taking it. And it's also funny too when you do stop taking it. It's almost kind of like some kind of weird withdrawal. You know, I've had my problems with
it's a withdrawal. Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't agree with any of that shit whatsoever.
What antidepressant were you on?
Prozac. I was on Prozac, and I took Celexa. And it just wasn't. It wasn't good for me at all. You know?
I remember when Prozac came out, it was going to be the miracle drug. It was going to be the drug that just cured. They were actually saying therapy would be on its way out because Prozac is going to make it. I remember thinking, "Fuck, do you feel good or just think that you feel good?" But now I don't know if anyone ever says thank God for Prozac.
Yeah, there's so many more names, and I think like we're kind of at that point where we're aware that it's like a chemical. If it agrees with you, if it doesn't. So there's so much like a doctor will say like, okay, we'll put you on this and we'll put you on a low dosage, but if that doesn't work, then we'll try this one. You know what I mean? Like there's so much working around how it's going to react to you chemically.
Ryan in Denver. Ryan.
Hey, Ronnie, going back to the traveling team thing you were talking about, I grew up in Naples, Florida, and we played basketball. Me and my brother both played traveling basketball. I'm like, you against kids in your county and stuff, you're doing good. And then you go over to the East Coast and play the kids in Miami, real athletes, and just get slaughtered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just made you like, maybe I better focus on school and hopefully make a real career out of this, not be a pro athlete.
So you're saying you can figure out much earlier on that you're not going to be as good, you know?
Oh, yeah. I remember my brother kind of played college basketball a little bit, but it's at Florida Southern, a real small school down here. But he's a firefighter now, and I focused on school much more than that. I mean, you go to these schools and kids are dunking at like age 12.
Dude,
you're getting blown out by 100 points.
All you need to do is go to that fucking place down in that pickup game in the Village.
Yeah, in West Fourth.
On West Fourth, there are games going on. You're like, I can't believe that these guys aren't signed anywhere. These are street basketball players, and you can go there and watch some of the best basketball that you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah, it's fun just to stand at the fence and watch those games. I used to do that in high school, and I loved it.
But I remember when I was a kid, the kids on Jefferson Street, they started the fucking Jefferson Street Astronauts. We weren't going to fucking beat those guys. I was going like this. Could I be one of the Jefferson Street Astronauts? And they're like, well, do you live on Jefferson Street? I go, you fucking know I don't. But I don't want to fucking play against you guys. It's fucking... You got fucking Smiths. You got the Smiths brothers. You got Reedy. You got Wardy. Okerson. Everybody's on one fucking street here. This is insane. Yeah, it was a stacked team. They were fucking good. But they went around and challenged people just for one block. They didn't have any fucking adults involved, nothing. They're like, we're Jefferson Street Astronauts. We'll fuck you guys up. Mike, what's up?
Hey guys.
Yeah.
My son's a musician, so I'm always buying him different equipment, and the parents of his friends are always like, "Oh, I can't believe how much money you're spending on all of his equipment." I'll just turn around and go, "Yeah, but you were gone 3 weeks out of this past summer because your kid was in Florida or in Arizona or other places playing baseball. He's not even on the JV team."
Dude, you know what would fucking bother me? It's not giving up the money, but giving up the time. Like, that's where I'm going on my vacation?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
To fucking watch you play this fucking game? I never understand why the parents have to be there. My dad never saw me play baseball. Did you ever see you play fucking asteroids?
My dad saw me play baseball. He was hammered. It's not a big deal.
Everybody's, I've seen that happen too. Somebody's like, fucking dad's here, Dad.
Would he be yelling and shit? Hey, Chrissy!
Drunk people never just sit to themselves and enjoy a game.
He'd sit behind the umpire and would yell, strike. Confusing everyone as to whether it was a strike or not on the opposing team.
I can't wait till your DNA gets back.
Me too.
How long is the wait?
3 weeks.
I'm going to guess that part of your DNA is jester. You're going to see a great-grandfather with just one of those fucking stupid hats on.
What an embarrassment. I wish I didn't even know.
Hey, Richard, what's up?
Hey, guys, how you doing today?
Cool in the gang.
Yeah. So I was listening to the caller talking about he was on Prozac for a while. And my sister-in-law was on Prozac. And she would stop taking it on purpose. And I remember overheard her talking to her sister one time. She said, "You know what? I'm going to quit taking Prozac, so everybody in my family is going to be just as miserable as me for 3 days." And it was like that predictable. You stop taking it and you go nuts. And you just terrorize your whole family.
Yeah.
And that's all Prozac was good for.
I would love to get Chris on something. I don't know what to take. Court, what's up?
Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, man.
Hey, I got two stories. One on team sports and travel chains and depression, but I'll just put the team sport.
Great.
Hey, I was a coach for a competitive girls soccer team, travel team, and it was a nightmare because the fun part of it went away. And all these girls thought they were going to be college stars, go to the Olympics. The parents just totally went nuts, and there was this backstabbing. And none of the girls made it out of high school from soccer. So all the work that they thought they were doing really didn't help them, and it actually really probably made them really hate the sport because at that age, all you're thinking about is all you're drilling in is soccer, and it's all year. You don't have seasons in travel. You're playing winter, spring, summer, fall. So there's no break. And I just saw what it did to them. I went, we'll never do that again. And I watched when I see these other teams, I go, it's really only a few will make it. And so I just feel like, especially for women, for young women, it's just so emotional. It's just terrible. I thought I was doing the right thing. It ended up really screwing up some of these girls. They just were rejected.
Remember, this is supposed to be our leisure time, right? And now when you take something that you enjoy, like, again, it comes back to the thing of, can you make money out of it? It's like an American thing. Why can't you play ball to play ball? And I will tell you, I know kids don't play sandlot ball anymore, but every day you could ask anybody from my neighborhood, and we went season by season. We played baseball, we played basketball, we played street hockey, we played football. The most fun I ever had was when there was no adults there. When we got the uniforms and started playing, it's the first time I ever saw a kid cry when we lost. And I remember going like this. What was he crying about? I lost 4 fucking games yesterday. Now I come here, I'm supposed to make a big thing because we're all wearing blue shirts.
Then there's an audience, and your parents are out there. I think, honestly, parents' eyes make things a little bit more emotional with that stuff, because then you're like, I'm disappointed my family.
Right. Or my dad just saw that fucking guy push me.
Right.
You know
exactly.
What I mean? Now I can't go home. I can't look at him. Or then they'll just you know, your mom just says the fucking craziest shit to you. By the way, this is my mom. I never really talk about my mom much on the air, but my brother was down in the hurricane thing. Did I tell you the story?
You didn't tell me, no.
Okay. So she's telling me all the supplies that he has. He has food and he has water and, you know, everything that he had. And he goes, and, you know, he's got a full, you know, built-in pool in the backyard so he can flush the toilet with that water. And she goes, you know, the old saying, when it's yellow, put it down. When it's brown, you got to flush it. And I literally just looked at my phone and I thought to myself, do I even bother correcting her? You know, and then I go, no, I don't want to be a Gail. Let her be herself.
Live her truth.
Yeah. Live your truth. Enjoy yourself. You don't have to be perfect. Here is Mike. Mike, what's up?
Hey, Ron, my daughter plays 12U, which is 12 and under, fast-pitch softball. And just to be on the team, which we're in Chicago, so we play when it's warm out, which is almost never, you pay $3,000 just to be on the team, which is not even to mention the fact that I have to send her to private hitting lessons twice a week for $100. She goes to pitching lessons because she pitches. That's another $50 every week. So I'm almost $10,000 in private lessons because she goes to speed and agility training, strength and conditioning training, because without that, you're not even going to be on a team that's worth talking about. And the whole point of that is to try and get her to play on a college team. So I don't have to pay for college. But now that I'm looking at the bill, I could probably just pay for any college I want to and save it.
And I was thinking, like, when I was young, the state schools were close to free. You know what I mean? Like, how did we get to this point? And the state schools, they pay the fucking coach $5 million to coach a football team or a basketball team. $5 million. And now, though, by the way, and those kids who get those scholarships are not really getting a college education.
Yeah.
Because they're focusing on the sport. Because if they don't win in their sport, everyone thinks that the school is bad and don't want to send their kids there.
Right.
I was like, I wanted to send my kid to Texas, and then they lost the Cotton Bowl. I don't see that happening.
Garbage program.
Yeah.
Like, even if your kid isn't in any sport,
no.
you're
My
just
kid's studying biology.
based on academics. It's got to be crap.
I think, you know, everyone thinks that the nerds have it the hardest, but I don't know. I mean, to be a nerd, no, I guess they got to worry about their grades.
Yeah.
This is the thing about me. I don't worry about my grades. I didn't give a fuck whether I struck out or not. I didn't. I wasn't going to fucking cry after the game. I played on teams that were in first place. I played on teams that were in last place. What are you going to do? Just fucking around, just playing a game.
It's fun.
I don't start fucking crying if I lose my Madden game.
When I was a student, since I was a kid all the way through high school, my grades always just ran the gamut because I was really, really good with English and, you know, and then my math was very poor. My history would be somewhere in the middle, science a little lower than that. And so I remember bringing that up to you like, I kind of hit every grade, kind of every report card, if you think about it. And you're like, that's not something you should brag about. I'm like, look, I've gotten every grade there is.
She acts like she had a straight flush.
I mean, it's pretty good when you think about it.
Look at Chris, you got good grades, right? You went to that fun. Where'd you go, Stuyvesant?
I went to Brooklyn Tech. I got good grades leading up to Brooklyn Tech, but at that point I stopped caring. Once I got into Brooklyn Tech.
So what does that mean? Good grades in middle school?
I guess good grades in middle. There was a test. You had to take one test to get into the specialized high schools.
Paul, Kansas City. Paul, we got
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just go ahead and let you know that if your kid has ability and it's recognized early on, that culture will be thrust upon your family. Mm-hmm. And it's as early as my son had national qualifying swim times at age of 9, and they wanted him swimming 5 days a week. Can't play soccer anymore. Can't play basketball anymore. We didn't allow that to happen, but he's played competitive basketball as well as soccer. We balanced them both, including 2 other kids, one of which was I spent my summer vacation in Minneapolis at a national volleyball tournament. It is almost an unconscious choice for the burbs. If you have the means, it takes you.
You're almost considered, you're kind of keeping up with the Joneses, and you look like a bad dad if you don't do those things.
And the kids get in that culture, and it is, like you were saying from the top of the discussion, that it is a achievement, right? That visceral achievement that comes from, playing at the highest level or striving for the highest level does outweigh everything. It really isn't. My wife and I both committed. We've had 3 kids in a row that we weren't going to be like those other families. And if, again, you go back to if the kid has the ability, your kid is shopped around and recognized and prospected from the earliest ages. And it wasn't a conscious choice.
That's really scary that these schools, and it's also fucking sneaker companies, follow little kids now and what they could become. And it's very strange. It's very, very strange.
It's like Sports Minority Report.
It doesn't say, like, again, at the beginning of this, it was supposed to be fun. I mean, if you really think about it, all sport was considered something that gentlemen do. You know what I mean? Up until, I don't know how many years ago, but it was something that you did on the side, that you didn't respect a professional athlete. You know what I mean? Because they were,
Well, the idea was that you are doing well enough that you could have leisure time to enjoy something like that.
And you could play it like a gentleman. But here, like, let's look at some of these. Most sports, let's suppose that you're a swimmer at a high level. Most of the time, college is the end of this, right? 21 is the end of it. So your career normally ends somewhere between 14 and 21 years old. And then there's a small amount of people who do it for a couple more. What I'm saying is handfuls of people who do it for a couple years more than that. And also being a good, let's say, a college basketball player or a good college football player doesn't necessarily mean that you're right for the NFL. Most of them aren't.
Right.
Yeah, 5%. 5% of Division I caliber football players make it in the NFL. And I think that's for a short period of time.
Yes. That is at all. When the average NFL player plays 3.5 years now. It's down to 3.5 years. Now, and just to prove this to you, Chris Stanley, you're a Giants fan, right?
Yes, I am.
How many Giants can you name?
7. I couldn't name one offensive lineman.
Yeah.
It's sad, but I couldn't.
All right, let's hear you name 7.
Okay, Eli Manning, Odell Beckham Jr., Brandon Marshall, Paul Perkins, Snacks.
You just got hungry.
Janoris Jenkins at 6.
He just saw some snacks.
But I mean, that's, and there's 22 guys who start in that fucking, and that's the way most people are. So most of the time, you make it to the NFL. I don't know what you get, $500,000 a year minimum, something like that.
Yeah, for the league minimum.
So, and then you play 3 years, and a lot of that money goes out for different reasons. I forget, is a crazy amount of those guys go broke they actually go bankrupt within 5 to 10 years. And I don't know if most people realize this. I think it's way more competitive to be a baseball player than it is to be a football player, because you're playing against, Dominicans and Asians and South Americans, and it's just almost impossible to make it into that league. It's ridiculous. And it's also because you have, even when you keep going up, there's just like, what other little skill that you have? Are you freakishly fast? Are you freakishly strong? You have unbelievable eyesight, all these things that no matter how hard you work, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, I know somebody who, she did gymnastics, and, at a young age where it was like super intense, and then just hit a point where she just didn't have all the things you need. You know what I mean? Like, just like you said, you check off body type, strength, whatever. And she felt like a failure. And it was like heartbreaking for her family, who had sunk all this time and money due to things that, like, at that young age, you wouldn't even know how she was going to develop at that point. So I don't know if it was like she was too tall or too broad or whatever it was. And they were like, well, you're out. After all of this hard work, you're out.
Well, when I was younger, we really didn't play soccer in this country. And then we would go to do World Cup stuff, we'd get our ass kicked. I'd say if you're about Chris's age, kids have been playing soccer since they were 5. We still get our ass kicked in World Cup. We haven't gotten any fucking better.
Yeah.
We go and play anybody. Much smaller countries than ours. We just got beat up by Costa Rica twice in a row. There's 5 million people in that country. There's 330 fucking million of ours. Out of all these youth travel programs, we can't fucking put together a bunch of kids that can beat fucking Costa Rica?
It's frustrating.
And they're like, oh, they start when they were little. So did you, motherfuckers. So did you. Jay in Jersey. Jay, what's up?
Hi, Ron.
Hey.
Calling just to talk about, can you hear me, Ron?
Yes.
Sorry about that. My daughter is a fencer, okay, and more esoteric sports. But she did it. She was introduced to it because I did it, and she enjoyed it. Okay, and people used to come up to me at like age 8 or 9. My daughter's now in high school. Say, oh, you're doing this so your daughter can get a scholarship? I'm like, it was so insane that people be thinking at age 8 or 9. I'm like, my daughter does it because she enjoys it, and she continues to enjoy it. And I'll support my kids when they enjoy something, but I'm not going to push a kid. For all the money you spend on these sports and this training, these people could be putting money into 529 programs. I actually did a little research on this. This and found out that only 2% of all high school athletes wind up even getting any scholarship money, and that scholarship money on average is only about $12,000.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that the parents are being pulled into some weird thing. But, you know, the guy who called and said, look, I got 3 kids. The kid has talent and pulled. I get that. I get him more than I want my son to get the training that I didn't have.
Right.
Because my parents didn't believe in me. So now you put your kid, it's like, you want to make a fucking kid play an accordion and he doesn't want to?
Yeah.
Now you got him to hate the accordion. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like the same as like the stage mom types. They're bad no matter what the situation, but it's way worse when you can see the kid doesn't want to do it. There are kids who are like, hey, I want to do this, and then the parent ends up pushing them too hard. But then there are stage mom types who are just like dragging their kids to auditions. And you're like, they actually want to do this. They don't even want to do it.
When I was coaching basketball, you would coach these little kids, and some of the kids, they signed up, they'd never seen a basketball or a hoop before. You're like, how's fucking, you know what I mean? Like, nobody has got it. So, and this was a little fat kid, and like it was so difficult not to get him to start traveling. He would take fucking 4 steps before, and the rest of the team, you remember, it was a pretty good fucking team.
It was a great team.
It was very competitive, but all the kids have to play. And this kid had to play in every game. And his mom just wanted him to belong. She said he was losing weight, but, I don't know whether he was or not. But we're playing a fucking game. He goes in, and he fucking shoots from like 2 feet away. And the ball went in. And it was my best experience that fucking entire summer. Like, I can't fucking, we fucking were just going crazy.
Yeah.
And I believe he did get the Goldberg Award. And before I would give out the award, all the kids would be like, Goldberg! Goldberg! Very strange team. Let's go over here to, let's go to Brett in Louisiana. Brett. Yeah.
Hey, Ron. Thanks for taking my call.
That's my job.
I just wanted to put my little point in. My daughter is in competition dancing. And this isn't just the little girly dancing that they do the little recitals and everybody takes pictures. This is like exactly like Dance Mom.
Right.
These parents come in and they buttering up their kid, putting on makeup. They got to have fake eyelashes. Everybody has to have the same exact type of hair. And these parents are yelling and screaming at these kids. They're all crying to win a little metal trophy for their group, and it's crazy how they act.
Yeah, I don't know what that kind of weird... I mean, we used to make fun of, like, these Germans for pushing their kids too hard. But even now, it's like... No one's gonna fucking care years from now that you were the best fucking dancer. I remember when cheerleaders used to just cheer. You watch cheerleading competitions now, they're shooting those kids 20 fucking feet in the world. Kids are breaking their necks, they're breaking their backs.
It's crazy.
I go, it's fucking cheerleading. What are you doing, man?
And kind of
cheer for the team.
And then also, like he just said, with the competitive dancing, there's also, on top of it being physically demanding, on top of it being very demanding of their time, then they're being judged on their looks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're like that.
You don't want an ugly dancer.
Yeah, like that part of it becomes like, makes something that's just like even more intense.
Here's what I think you need to say to your children. I need you to be beautiful, perfectly fit, competitive. I want you to tear their fucking lungs out in dancing. Okay? I want to see some chat. But what the fuck are we You know what gets into my head sometimes when I think of how many things that we just assume are good because we heard that they're good? And sometimes I think sport is part of that.
Yeah.
That we just sit around like, well, sports are good for kids. I don't know. You know, I think we pay way too much attention to sports in this country now. I know I did. My Sundays are shot with fucking football. I'm not really enjoying those games.
Yeah, well, the thing with sports is they always say it's great for team building and it builds confidence. It builds confidence if you're good at it. But do you remember the feeling of just like stinking at something when you were a kid?
Like
you
shit.
hated it. I remember like loving track when I was a little kid because I could do it well. And then anytime like some of the, remember all those like presidential fitness things? Yeah. And anytime like there was like the rope that you had to climb up, I was like, stupid. I hate it because I couldn't do it. Like, you're like, when you are not confident in something, you feel like crap. So just to be like, oh, sports create confidence in people who are good at them.
But guess what else creates confidence? If you can fix a door, if you can fix the toaster. A lot of things create confidence. Public speaking. So what? It creates confidence. A lot of people are too fucking confident. As far as team building, be a third baseman and see that another third baseman is around. And you're not like, hey, I want to help him move along.
Fuck no.
And, you fucking hate that kid. Hey, let's go over here to, here's Kevin. Kevin, what's up?
Nada. Just another day in paradise. I was just going to let you know how ridiculous it gets for some. My brother-in-law has 2 kids in college now. Both played baseball from Dixie Youth. Neither one of them play baseball anymore. They stopped their sophomore years. But his wife figured it out about a year ago of all the traveling, baseball, and everything else. They had spent almost $250,000 in 11 years, which is freaking ridiculous.
It's
and they
mental
bitch
illness.
About how,
It's mental illness.
I believe so too.
I mean, you could have bought that kid a home. He could have a home for that kind of money. Not to mention the fact that, first of all, if you look at it like a lot of ex-jocks, they all end up in the sales, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody that used to be a jock is in the fucking sales department, and they're all drunks and have fucking gambling problems.
Why do you think it goes with sales so?
Because it's that weird competitive thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Again, where's your fucking team building?
Right.
It's all about fucking sales. And I think a corporation would hire a jock because they know, well, this fucking guy got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do fucking sit-ups so that he could be the best fucking, I don't know what, Australian crawl fucking swimmer in the school. So I know he'll get up and try to do sales. And like, it's almost like, you ever know like a smart girl who was like, My dad's great because he would also give me punishments. If you know what I mean, like he would set up these weird things,
right?
You know, so they love being punished by their fucking coach, and so they're later going to love getting screamed at by their boss.
That's true.
I don't know why anyone likes. I don't know when anybody fucking lets a fucking little coach scream at them when they're a giant athlete. I'd be like, guess what? This fucking shit's going down tonight. I'm going to fuck you up.
Why am I
I'm going to be waiting at your house when you get out of the fucking car. I'm going to stomp your shit. How's that fucking sound? Now, I'm going to have some sponge cake. But when you watch, well, I know you guys don't watch Hard Knocks, but those guys, I mean, they're men, and the babyishness of that thing, of do the same thing over and over. Now it's your free time. You get a snack and you get to make one of the guys get up and sing in front of you. I mean, you're like, what are we, 8 years old?
Wait, that's what they do? Like they have like a little downtime where there's...
Yeah, they have a snack and then the rookies have to get up and sing a song and everybody laughs and sings along or points at them. I mean, it's the shit that, you know, used to do in Boy Scouts. And these are full grown ass men. And they live under the gun of they could be gone at any second. Any second, your career's over.
And how's that for team building?
Well, look, Chris is a fucking Giants fan. The reason why he doesn't know all the Giants is because they change every year.
Yeah.
Every fucking year, there's different guys there.
Who's the right tackle now?
You're just you're cheering for a helmet. Jill, what's up?
Hi guys. There's a New York Times sports writer. I think her name's like Karen Krause, and basically she's found this town in Vermont that has the highest per capita of Olympic athletes, and she lived there for a year and kind of researched how they treat their kids and their athletes, and it's coming out in December, and it looks really interesting. It basically came down to being well-rounded, having other things in their life, not fixating on the single sport.
Well, you know, an Olympic athlete is a much different thing because you're not looking at the same kind of money at the end of that. The fact that those guys peak at a certain age. Well, you know, we brought up gymnastics. Your peak is like between 14 and like 16. And then you're like a weird old skank with tits. And everyone's just like, why don't you go hatch a fucking egg? You know what I mean? You have body fat.
Disgusting.
So, I mean, isn't that, and those kids get taken away from their fucking moms and dads.
Yeah.
They go put them in a camp.
Yeah. The coach is the parent.
Yeah.
The state is the parent. That's what it is. It's like Mother Russia. Look,
and now there's all sorts of, like sex with the female Olympic teams because it's like you send these little kids away and they're with these men for, 90% of their life and there's no boundaries, and that's the next thing that's coming out.
They're just constantly being made to do splits. Don't know the split in front of me.
Mostly split work we're doing today.
You do a split as long as you can. The guy leans ahead and just blows a whistle in front of your vagina, and they act like that's team building. I don't think so.
Good workout today, girls.
Team building, is it?
You know what we should do? Let's like fucking raise a baby to do something really bizarre. You know what I mean? Like instead of sports, let's just like, we're going to make you the best fucking FedEx person that's ever lived. And you just make him do FedEx shit all the time. And then he shows up at 18 and they're like, where did this guy come from?
Just quizzing him on zip codes.
Boom, boom, boom. And he's just like, and like no one else at work would even care. So you're beating everybody.
Right.
Everybody else, you're dominating. All right, so since you dig that, Jill, make sure you watch, what's the ESPN, like, sports, bam, bam, ba-da, and then you come back and the guy's like, why didn't you do more in your story? You have to sit there with a fucking clipboard while he's fucking with you.
It's the QB camp?
What is he talking about?
I don't know what the thing is.
Why would you just guess QB
I had to
out
guess
of nowhere? It's a sports show that's on fucking HBO.
Sports?
The Gumbel one?
Yeah, Gumbel. Gumbel's he sends a guy out to do that. You won't believe, whole towns have put themselves into just building fucking stuff for children to come and play.
Wow.
Whole towns. They spend...
Well, now they have those Texas stadiums. Kids' high school stadiums are $100 million. There's like 3 or 4 of them.
I would just simply say this to any of these kids. Do you know how much Coke you could buy for the same amount? And if you're looking for satisfaction, momentary satisfaction, I've got the drug for you.
You can move it and do it with that amount of money.
Jill, keep an eye out on this story and let me know immediately, okay?
Yeah, I think it comes out in December. I'll send it to you when it's out.
And then I want you to run laps and do nothing but eat fruit and gelatin, all right?
Oh, well, that I cannot do, but I will send you.
Later, I'll throw a medicine ball at you for an hour.
Ouch!
Peace. Bye. Hey, Doug, Canada. Doug.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, I was just listening to you guys and thought you're exactly on the right line about that sport in Little Mantle these days. They get these little guys playing hockey here at 4 or 5 years old, and I go to the rink with my kid, and all the assholes are yelling, screaming, and they think their kid's going to be the next Gretzky, and I just wanted to punch half them out. I couldn't even go after 2 games.
Yeah, it gets absolutely insane. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is there's one Gretzky a generation. There's one Michael Jordan a generation. It's a very rare thing. It's like saying, I want my kid to be Michael Jackson. And I'll tell you something else. If you look at movie stars or pop stars, their parents did have them in classes when they were fucking 5. You know what I mean?
Right.
There isn't any, hey, I went out. Some guy thought I had a funny looking face. I got in a movie. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do a lot of shit before that even happens.
Right.
But I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and it kind of hurts my feelings. No teacher, no gym coach has ever said your 3rd grader is funny on a 10th grade level. They despise the funny kid. They want to fucking make the funny kid eat their own shit.
Everyone.
What is it about you and being cucked out and humiliated? Why do you love humiliation so much?
I don't like humiliation. It was just a question.
It's arousing to you. Do you want me to start and humiliate you more and then you can be aroused more?
I don't want to be aroused at work.
What were you doing?
Yes, you do.
What were you doing with that girl of yours? You guys watch the Weather Channel all weekend? What did you do? Does she work weekends?
She works. She worked on Saturday.
Good.
Yeah.
Because I think you two are spending too much time together. Yeah, you don't see that there's anything outside your bubble. I'm breaking up couples is what I'm doing this season. I listen to Big Brothers. Nick Nolte is never going to do that show.
I figured if he had like a lapse in his work, they need a token older player. So I think Nick Nolte would be good.
Nick Nolte is a guy was nominated for Academy Awards.
I'm well aware.
He's not a guy that you lock in a house for a month. Vito, who did you pick?
Bert Kreischer.
I would love to see Bert do that show.
He would be great.
Yeah.
He'd be entertaining.
He'd be, and I think he would have a blast with it.
And I think he also would cry at certain points. He's a crier. Who'd you pick, Gail?
I said Corey Feldman is my number 1 pick. I think he would be perfect for it.
I think they're going to go pick a jackass guy.
Okay.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. I don't know which one.
A Steve-O, perhaps?
Steve-O may be too big. You might have to go right. Who are some of the other guys?
Johnny Knoxville.
Too big.
Bam Margera.
Who were the other dudes, though, that didn't have their own spinoff shows?
Wee Man was
okay. A Wee Man.
One of them passed away.
Oh my God.
Oh, he can't.
I can't remember the other guy. It's the guy that passed away, and then there's the guy with
Dunn
the
is the
hair.
one that passed
By
away.
the way, Hoda just gave me a nice wave.
Oh, I love her.
I know.
Adam Pock picked Tori Spelling.
He loves Tori Spelling.
He does.
Wait, you forgot who he picked. He picked me. Something that you and fucking Chris refused to do. And my name never even came up this entire season until Adam Pock brought it up. So I'll be making some new changes.
Oh, shit.
And I heard Gail Bennington's name get mentioned, too.
I wish that if I was going to get a shout out, someone could at least pronounce my last name correctly.
Bennington.
And Gail Bennington brought this up.
Pat in Buffalo.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my call, Ron. Long-time listener. I've been doing the travel sports thing with both my son and my daughter for years now, and your show this afternoon has really opened my eyes to the fact of how much money I've probably blown on it now. Seeing as the fact that my daughter's now 15 and she's had a private pitching coach since she was 7. I think I'm going to go hang myself when I get home and light fire to a bunch of money. But it's insane the amount of time and money that's spent, and we do it at a pretty moderate level. And at this point, she's pretty sure she's going to play in a college, but she's not even sure if she wants to play in college because of the pressure involved because of being a pitcher. So all this to think that at any point we were fooling ourselves thinking and we were helping ourselves pay for her education is crazy. And along the way, because I'm an intense psychopath myself, I almost destroyed my relationship with my daughter. It's just been a hoot for the past 7 years.
Well, why don't you hang yourself, put a note on your chest that said, honey, it's all your fault. And that'll be the end of the whole thing.
That'll end well. I'll blame her for everything.
But yeah, talking about that girls softball, because you can't give up any runs in that league. You know what I mean? You can't give up a dinger because these games all end 1-0, 2-1. So the pressure looks even more than it is in baseball.
It's absolutely crazy. It's the most. I coach I coach both my boys in football, and to me, softball is the closest thing in a girls' sport that came to the kind of action and intensity that football had, because it's fast moving, even though they're low scoring games. I mean, it's a lot of defense. Sure. The girls are tremendous athletes. They make great plays. But all kidding aside, I mean, she's been doing it a long time, and the thing that I really want her to take out of it more than anything is, as much as I see the craziness, I see the psycho parents. I've been guilty of that myself, but she's come out of this and she's made friends that literally will last her the rest of her life. I mean, there are girls that she met when she was 9. She's still playing with them now. Yeah. They compete together. They have a great time.
I have friends like that with weed. You know what I mean? Like you keep.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I was trying
fucking
to push her on a
friends.
different path.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that she made friends, but you're friends with people you grew up next to too. I don't know. It just seems to be this crazy thing to be special. Special, special, special. That's what we want to be. We want to achieve. We want to defeat. It's somewhere in us. I will tell you this. I never saw anything in my lifetime hasn't changed like women's basketball. When I was a kid, when you would watch women's basketball, they would wear skirts.
Yeah.
And the ball would just get passed around a lot. There would be a set shot from the outside. They would actually shoot from underneath their chest. And women's basketball today is unbelievably competitive, exciting. I'm like, what happened? How did it get so amped up? Let's see, Ryan, Louisiana, Ryan.
Oh, hello, Ron.
Hey.
I played Division I college hockey, and I coached for a long time, and it got to the point I couldn't even coach, not even at the, lower levels of, travel hockey or house hockey, because the parents all thought their kids were Wayne Gretzky, and they were going to get scouted at 12 years old out of house hockey.
Right.
It was insane how insane they were.
When I coached baseball, right? So my little catcher, and he was a terrific little catcher. At the end of the year, the parents had given me a picture of me and him together, and they said, this way when he makes it to the majors, you can tell people that you coached him. I'm like, dude, A, he ain't making it to the majors. And B, I don't even put up pictures of my own kids. You know how weird it would be if I put up a picture of me and his kid?
Dad, how come you don't have any pictures of us?
I don't know. You're not going to the majors, I guess. Well, obviously, the kid didn't even make it to the minors. He was an okay 10-year-old ball player. Okay. You've got to be like, fucking people can't believe that you're walking around to make it to that level. You got to be born a freak, you know? It's like saying I want to be a superhero one day. And look at our friend that said that the best part of his life is when he was 11 years old, Eastside Dave. Eastside Dave was a very good baseball player when he was 11 and 12. And it was also a time that people didn't find... It's an age where they don't find red-haired people repulsive. And he said, if I could be any age of my life, I'd be 11. I go, that's sick. That's a sick thing to think. Why would you want to be taken care of again and told what time to go to bed?
I know.
That was it for him. That's when he peaked. He and I will text each other watching the Little League World Series every year. Let me see if I can go back and find these. You see how stupid we get.
Judgmental, the children?
Well, I will say this. We really want to beat Japan every year. So let me see if I can find some of this. Well, here. All right. I wrote to him, Texas Little League is more of a disaster than the hurricane. This is because Texas was losing to Japan. And then he wrote, little choking piglets. Ha, ha, ha. Then I wrote, Trump should build a wall around this league. And then he wrote, Harry Truman should drop the big one on Japan's dugout. But the fact that he said little choking piglets. Nicole, what's up, Nicole?
Hey, hi Bennington, how are ya?
Hey, darling Nicole.
I have two boys who are super athletic. My oldest was drafted into the major junior league for hockey, so I have seen a lot of nutties with the parents and stuff, but I think hockey is the absolute worst because most of the parents have never done it. They look at it, they watch it on TV, it looks easy, and they can't figure out why the hell their kid isn't the best in the world, but they have no clue because they've never put skates on themselves.
Do you know how difficult it is just to skate backwards and how ballsy it is to be skating backwards where somebody's coming?
Never been able to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And these guys are incredible athletes
Phenomenal.
On and off the ice. But to keep that level of skill while going on an eighth of an inch blade is crazy. And parents don't get it. They watch the 7-year-olds and yell at them because
I think we're losing you, darling, but thank you. Yeah, parents just don't understand. And parents don't understand, too, like with a 7-year-old. Let's say you're just going after a fly ball. They're 7. You know what I mean? They're just learning about depth. You know what I mean? It's hard for them to judge stuff. Like a lot of times you'll say to a 7-year-old, hey, go into the kitchen and get me the mustard. And they'll come back fucking 10 minutes later with nothing. What happened?
It's perfectly normal for a child to do that.
Thank you.
And those children sometimes grow up to be wonderful people.
I don't know. Why don't we take one of our world famous breaks? We'll be right back here on 9/11. It's Bennington. It's the Bennington Show. 16 years since 9/11. 16 years. And I remember when 9/11 happened, we all said, oh, it'll bring people closer together in this country. And no, it hasn't happened. We are more divided than ever. I think that's the first step to admitting anything.
That's true.
It almost feels like a breakup is ready to happen.
Yeah, it feels weird, and these kind of markers in time, like it always makes you look back on where you were at that time, who were the people you knew, what was the place, and then where was the country then versus now. You know, yes. You're always going to sit, like every year, you're going to have a look at where you are in the world and where this country is and where you once were. It's a strange kind of anniversary. It's a very strange type of anniversary.
What would you say it would take to heal this country, to bring this country together? I mean, is there one thing or is it 50 things?
Yeah, I think it's 50 things. I think that there are so many different sects of people who feel like what they're needing and what they're yearning for is so strong that it feels like there's going to be unrest. And I know that for some people who either voted for Obama or really supported Obama or felt very comfortable during those years, felt like, okay, this is the trajectory. And this is just the beginning, like the next guy.
But do you realize that a lot of people in this country were incredibly uncomfortable during the Obama years?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I feel is that's something that maybe for some people felt so comfortable. Other people felt like their value system was completely taken.
Do you think there's any way that the country even wants to get together now? Do you think we're past the point where people would even stand together over anything? I'm going to look at Chris Stanley. What's the number one thing that you think this country needs?
I think the number one thing this country needs is a better economy.
So you think jobs would make people feel better?
I think people will feel, that'll make people feel more safe or secure.
So we get America back to work.
Yeah.
And money will fix everybody's problems.
I think it will fix a lot of problems.
Okay. All right, let's go to Jen. She's young. Jen, what do you think? Is it the millennials? Is that the thing? The biggest problem?
I actually thought it was the opposite. I thought it was like the older generation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
die? Is that it?
No, not die, but just, like not tell their children to have the same views as them. Because I feel like millennials are the more open, liberal ones, and the older generation.
So you think the answer, right?
Yeah.
Is everybody be progressive, everybody be liberal, everybody keep moving along, and you feel like the older generation, i.e. white men, want to keep everything yourselves. Though you do believe that there should be certain traditions and values held, right?
Yeah, some of them. Some.
What's one that you would love to see changed, and then everything would be okay?
I would. Like a holiday or just like in general?
No, anything that you think like, oh, here's something about him. Because I always have the philosophy of this. We agree on 93% of the stuff, but 70% of the stuff that we're really vicious about.
Right.
Like most of us agree like, oh yeah, don't go in someone's yard. Hey, the mail should get here on time. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if someone has trouble, the cops should show up or the fire department or an EMT. I think we kind of agree. Hey, the bridges should be safe and the milk should be drinkable. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of stuff that we agree on.
Yeah, well that's like one of those things where, you agree on it in principle, but then there are also people who feel that they worry about the way money is being spent. Spent.
College.
Every grade across the board.
All right, let's go to our other two young ones. America, does it work? This is 844 Rock God. 844 Rock God. Vito, what do you have?
Health insurance and just healthcare in general. Just because even health insurance you get through a company, the co-pays are so ridiculous. Like I have a $50 copay and I don't even want to go to the doctor when I don't feel good because if it's nothing, it's $50 I just wasted.
What do you want, free healthcare?
Not, just restructured.
But how restructured? Give me an idea. Should it be free like it is in all the other countries?
I don't think it's feasible to do free like all the other countries.
Why not?
But I mean, just because the population's so much greater here.
Yes, but that way we have more hospitals and more doctors. I don't think it's going to be that crazier. I mean, do you think that Canada can only do this because there's less people?
That's what I think. Yeah, that Canada can only do it because.
Should we have less people here so you can get the copay down?
No, I don't.
Fields.
I don't.
What do you want the copay to be? $8?
Maybe a nice $10 to $15.
Okay. So literally, this goes back to working. $35 would make his entire life easier. All right, I've already forgot our new intern. What's her name?
Imani.
Let's bring Imani in. Now, Imani, I don't even know much about her other than that she's a communications major. But Imani, do you agree that the country is fractured right now?
I do. I do believe it is.
And what could we do to bring this country back together, the old USA, to unite these states of America?
I'm not even sure what we can do at this point right now. I feel like
it's almost like it's too far gone, right?
Yeah.
Should we break it up? Should we break up the states?
Yeah. Bye. I'm kidding.
California's talking about it. Texas brings it up.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to hurt the people's feelings in California, but Texas is a better fit to become their own country.
I know, like, Vermont, maybe, it always talks about it, too.
Vermont's too small right now. Let's split. We might put you with the New England states. But I would do this. I'd have one state just called Millennial State. And we force all the millennials there.
Even elderly millennials like Chris and I?
Yes, you are.
Wow. With the voice of reason, wisdom.
As an elder here.
You know, first of all, you have to have an oldest, even if we get rid of you guys as millennials. There's still going to be a new oldest. Eric in Virginia.
Hey, buddies.
Hey.
So I feel like we usually come together best when we have someone like a common enemy, someone we can like focus on. When we were the one superpower, we like all hated Russia, or we all hated Germany, or we can all hate like aliens. We'll make up aliens and we can all hate them.
But can't we come together for positive reasons?
No, I don't think we can.
So the only way that we come back is if the war drums are going. We've got to get these people.
Common enemy. Maybe like that's why things like the hurricane is easy to focus on. We're all anti-hurricane, correct?
We are. There's a very good point. We're all very, very anti-hurricane. And it is, I don't know why this psycho thing just came up on here. I don't know where that comes from, Chris, whether we've got, it looks like a dating app just appeared on my commercial.
Oh, no.
It looks like somebody's playing jack games with this thing.
Oh, no. Are you being sexted?
Here's Tiff in West Virginia. Tiff.
Hey, buddies.
Yeah.
So I think the drug war and the over-imprisonment that this country has gone through has been a very divisive, because I think the drug war turns into more of a war on poverty than it does on the actual drugs. You know, it separates us by class, and I mean, you're just handing out felonies like candy to people. It definitely changes your economy and changes the structure in which you can run this country.
Now, normally you would think like a lot of the libertarians would be like you, pro-drug, but it looks like we're trying to ramp up the drug war like the old days. Jeff Sessions is very anti-marijuana.
Yeah, he hates it.
Yeah, he considers marijuana for stoners. And it's very funny with marijuana. Normally when I'm at the stand, I'll check to see in the room how many people are pro and anti-marijuana. And it's still a minority, I think, of people.
They're pro-legalization.
No, or even smoke weed.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't smoke weed, but yeah, you could legalize it. Would you legalize all drugs?
Yeah, I think legalizing it, decriminalizing it even more so, because I think the prison system and the way the justice system works, the way we incarcerate people for nonviolent crimes is pretty insane.
Do you think that we could make marijuana and drugs legal, but we make alcohol illegal for a few years just to have a catch-up factor? Just so that people will try some of the drugs. Because a lot of drinkers don't want to try anything else.
Right.
And that annoys me.
Yeah, just enjoy it.
They think they're so good with their legal drugs.
Yeah. I think more people started to smoke marijuana when we got HDTV. I think at that point. And do you notice that HDTV doesn't look weird Now, have they changed it, or are her eyes changed?
We have to have gotten used to it, because I remember when it first happened, it was fucking...
Oh, I was like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this. I felt like I could see everyone's pores. I was really creeped out by it. It looked really surreal, and now it just looks good.
Yeah.
It's weird.
At first it was too clear.
Yeah.
But is it the same, or did they adjust it?
I feel like it's the same when we got used to it.
Like, that can't be. Let's bring Imani in here. It's her first day. She needs to spend a little time. She needs to come in and sit at the regular chairs.
Now they're going to have 4K? And I haven't even seen that. I don't even know what that is.
What's 4,000?
4,000 of what? Inside the television.
Yeah. Peter, you can sit down too. Imani, nice to see you. Where did you say, BX?
Yes.
Good to have you here. You liking it so far?
So far, so good.
Did you do college radio?
No, I didn't.
We were talking about legalizing marijuana.
Okay.
Do you smoke weed?
No, I actually don't.
Never
I'm
smoked it?
more of a drinker.
You what?
I'm
You're
more
what?
of a drinker.
Yeah.
So.
Drinking will slow you down from trying new things.
Get it out there. See
Vito,
what
are
else
you
is going
still
on.
a weed guy?
No, I stopped. I used to really like weed, but now it just makes me sleepy and paranoid.
And you're very big in the shrooms, I understand.
I dabbled in them twice.
During work hours?
No.
Vito?
Off work hours.
Would you say off or on? If it's a work-related trip.
I say work trip, it's 24 hours work.
Thank you.
So did you drink on that trip, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, snap.
Here's the thing. You always get the old man on the drinking thing. Imani, would you, even though you don't smoke marijuana, would you legalize it?
I would, for medicinal purposes.
Yeah. Well, there's no medicine in it. Let's be honest about that. Like, I've had the flu and I'll go, I want to smoke a joint. I don't think, I think you're either in or you're out. You know? You're in or you're out. I kind of feel like if people want to try things, it would be much easier not to arrest them. It would be much easier to get them treatment. I can't even prove that point. But I don't know how you can stop people from doing what they are driven to do. You know?
It's not possible. It's proven. People are
Which
still
is
doing
also true of crime. These people, I think the people that commit crimes are mentally ill. Most of the time. You don't want to live a criminal lifestyle. It's never good. It's never fun.
Right.
Even if you're the kingpin, it sucks. So what is making somebody do that? Yes, it is. Can you imagine having a job that somebody might drive by and shoot you for so they can have your territory? People at Coke don't have to worry about that. People who sell Coke have to worry about that. But Coke and Pepsi, they hate each other. But they're not going to start fucking gunning each other down. No. Why, Chris? It's legal. Maybe you sit around and just... But at some point, this country has just gotten so tense with each other. I mean, we're fighting over statues. I never looked at a statue in my life. I don't even know what's up there. I see metal feet. I keep walking. Do you know any statue in Central Park right now? I don't know one.
I know one. Balto. That's the only one I can
why?
think of.
Because everybody rubs Balto. They rub it so much. I know that statue over in the Time Center because everyone grabs the balls.
Yeah.
And it's all metal.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah, it's all shiny.
Everyone thinks it's their idea to rub the balls. I'd like to fix this country, though. I'd like to be known in future history books, or I guess it'll be something else besides books.
History websites.
No, far past that. It'll look like I'm still there talking, but it won't be. It'll be like, oh, you found that thing? It's so stupid.
Yeah, look at how shiny the little piece is.
By the way, no children do that either. It's all adults.
Yeah.
I've sat and watched for a while.
It's too high up for children's hands.
And they're all giggling like, and I'll just go, look at the shine. Everyone has done it.
Nobody touches the vagina one next to it, right?
No one. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
You know why? Because vaginas... No, I'll tell you why. Yes, it is. Vaginas are not funny, and penises are incredibly funny to people.
Vaginas are quite serious.
It also feels weird touching a metal vagina, like, cause there's like a slit on it and everything. That would feel weird going up and rubbing the statue vagina.
But you're fine with the touching it. Yeah, I know that you've touched it.
Yeah, I run pad every day. That's my good luck being to work.
I I actually backed into it. And said, "Take a picture." Look at this, Everglades City. I gotta fix Florida too, one town at a time. I'm not giving up on this country. Here is Ben in Los Angeles, California, home of the Doors.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of vaginas, I think that we need to keep mixing up the gene pool. That's the only way racism is going to end once everyone's a ethnically ambiguous shade of beige.
Should it be mandatory?
Well, no, but
we've obviously done it a lot more. I mean, we've got to be number one in history right now, right? The United States has got to be leading the league in that.
There's no other country that could touch us.
What's that?
There's no other country that could touch us.
Wow, I had no idea what he said there. Did anybody?
No.
I heard ducking country can touch us. And I'm like, ducking country. Seriously, you just went like this. Ducking country can touch us. And you also did a 4 feet off mic. Ducking country can touch us. Can I tell you something, Ducking?
Yes.
You're driving me crazy.
I don't want to drive you crazy. I don't. It's the last thing I ever want.
Your point is ducking country can touch us.
Ducking country can touch us.
And then somebody else brought up that we need another 9/11. Vito, do you even remember 9/11?
Yeah, I remember 9/11.
What do you remember from it?
I remember they took us to the cafeteria and they said, "We don't know where your parents are, so just hold on." Then I remember from my building, you could see the cloud of smoke. Remember going to my uncle's house and we were all sitting around and watching all the footage of what was happening that day. CNN was talking about terrorists. I thought terrorists and tourists were the same thing. That really put me through confusion.
You thought the tourists attacked us.
I thought the tourists attacked us. And I was imagining, like, in my head, the people with cameras that take pictures in the street. I was like, so they're the problem now.
Here's the thing, Vito, and I know you haven't changed much since then. So just ask. Don't try to figure it out on your own.
I don't know. There's something so cute about this very confused 9/11 baby.
So
it's like the cutest thing I've ever heard.
It's my favorite 9/11 story so far. That he's going like this. Those damn tourists.
Literally in my head, I pictured the people with cell phones hanging around their neck, and I was like, they're the fucking problem now. I didn't expect this. Then my uncle was saying something racist about the guy who had the corner store. He was like, he probably did it, and I was like, that guy's fucking great. Why would he do this?
So he immediately started thinking Muslims were involved?
One of my uncles did that immediately. Yeah. And then I told you guys this a while ago. I got a really big fear of Osama bin Laden for a while after 9/11.
Because he was the boogeyman.
He was the boogie. Like, the things they showed you on TV of just him, like, with the gun and everything, that was in my, I thought he was gonna fucking attack me. Like, I would be home alone from school, and I would imagine him coming down on, like, a rope and fucking bursting in the windows and, like, taking me out. And even to the point where one day when they were doing work on our windows and there were actually people on the scaffolding, I was like, oh, no, it's definitely him. This is it.
And you still go on. You still attempt to have a life.
Yeah.
Knowing how confused you've been.
It was years, too. I was afraid of Osama.
Oh, God.
Now you start to sound like my dad. That was his He's still going, Obama's coming back. That is adorable, though, right?
It's so cute.
The tourists and terrorists I've never even heard of. I mean, do you even remember 9/11? Are you too young?
I don't. Yeah, I was too young. But I remember I was home with my mother.
Yeah.
And just like it was everywhere. You heard it on the radio, TV.
Isn't that something now that we've got? I mean, you guys are the last age that remember anything about it, you know?
Yeah. I'll never forget the cloud of smoke, just because I could never see the buildings from my apartment, but I saw the cloud of smoke.
You see the light out there now? When they put the light into the air?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That still has the same feeling, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And always like the first time that you see it, cause they start it the first week of September. So, sometimes you can forget that it's coming up and you'll be walking at night and look up and go, oh my God, it's September. I totally forgot.
Well, you know what's really weird? It's the amount of people that live in the city now that weren't even here for 9/11. I mean, you guys, are native New Yorkers. So that's a strange thing to you. But in Manhattan, And even Brooklyn, most of the people are new. Yeah. Queens now, most of the people are new.
I was in a conversation with old friends and coworkers and realized that they were all talking about 9/11 and not one of them was here.
Yeah.
And then was like, oh, right. So you were here. What was that like? And I like immediately felt weird. I was like, oh my God, I felt like we were the same, but we're not. Like we didn't have that same experience.
Oh, and also this isn't like entertainment talk for us.
Right.
You know? Because when people say like, never forget, I'm like, I'm trying to forget.
I need to be able to get to work every day. So I like to forget a little bit.
Right. Before I go down into a hole and travel by train, I like to think that that's a safe thing.
Yeah.
And not remember that it sometimes isn't. Well, I'm glad that you joined our show with us.
Thank you. I'm glad you're having me.
And this is, it's an odd day to start too, September 11th, isn't it? Isn't that the weirdest thing? Or the fact that it doesn't play out. But I was on the air that night, and also that day Gail was at school and I had to come get her from school. She was just a girl, and you sat with us that night on the air. Yeah,
that's the strange thing about having started doing this show and getting to be here today is it's very familiar and similar, because this is where I was in many ways. I was with you and you were on the air.
Yeah. And that was also, like, you guys get it from a kid thing. But can you imagine when your kids say, is everything going to be all right? And you're just like, well, I'm going to sure try to make it all right, aren't we? Because you can't, I mean, if you don't want to lie to them at that time.
Yeah.
I had no idea when it was stopping or what was going to go on.
And it was like still such pure chaos and nothing, because it was so unexpected and so out of the ordinary, it just felt like anything was possible. Any negative thing felt like it was on the table at that point.
Do you remember who was with us on the air that night? It was me and you. It was Fez.
Yeah.
Billy Staples. Billy Staples came in by train from Long Island. He hid in the bathroom and came in.
Yeah.
And Earl Douglas.
Yeah.
The world famous black Earl, who is one of the legendary radio people. He wasn't even on our show and just started producing that night. And then we just took calls that night and the next 100 straight days probably about it. It all starts to run together. And it feels so far away and yet so close at the same time. And what was amazing, and for all you guys, your parents had to think about it too, is whether you stay or go. You know what I mean? Like just staying and not leaving the city was kind of an interesting act of bravery at the time, where people went, because there was, of course, constant threats after that. But we met some of the most amazing people after that. One of the things that happened, what got me talking about bringing everybody together, is people, at least in this city, were just loving the hell out of each other. And people were partying, and you would see, and I don't know why this is, more people making out in the street than at any other time. You'd just be out at night and people would be physically drawn together. So with all the horror from that time, I will also remember the deep friendships and, like we said, all the people that we spent those moments with. And every night we would end the show with this song, which sounds like it was written for 9/11. It's just, and it happened to be like a big hit pop song at the time. And it just sounds like, if you listen to the lyrics, it sounds like it was written for a person. And maybe there is this thing as zeitgeist. So take care of each other and remember each other. And we'll see you again here, 1974. This is U2. Walk On.